Of all the strange things evolution has produced in the ocean, the hammerhead shark might be the most visually baffling. That head, that absurd, flattened, sideways extended head. It looks like a design mistake, but the more you look into it, the more you realize there's nothing accidental here at all. That head, technically called a cephalofoil, is one of the most sophisticated pieces of biological engineering in the ocean, and it does far more than anyone initially suspected. Hammerhead sharks belong to the family Sphaeronidae within the larger order of ground sharks, which also includes tiger sharks, cat sharks, and weasel sharks. Within the family, there are two genera. Eusphaera contains just one species, the winghead shark. Sphaerona contains at least 8. And what's immediately striking is how diverse the head shapes actually are. At one extreme, the winghead's head can reach half its own body length in width. At the other, the bonnethead has the smallest protrusion and a more shovel-shaped head. All sorts of intermediate shapes fill the space between. So what is this head actually for? 4 things, as it turns out. The first is hydrodynamics. Scientists noticed the cephalofoil has a remarkably similar structure to an airfoil, flatter on the bottom, more rounded on top, potentially providing lift and increased maneuverability. A 2003 study compared the movements of juvenile hammerheads against a sandbar shark. The hammerheads turned more often and more sharply. The cephalofoil isn't functioning like a steering wheel, but it does keep the animal stable at speed. Hammerheads are also among the most negatively buoyant of all sharks, and that airfoil shape may be providing the lift they need to swim efficiently without sinking. The second function is smell. A 2010 study found that sharks detect which nostril picks up a scent first, then turn rapidly toward the source. Since hammerhead nostrils are placed far apart on the cephalofoil, they detect timing differences between nostrils with far greater precision than other sharks. They also sample odors from a larger volume of water simultaneously, identifying scent direction faster. An enlarged olfactory organ in hammerheads supports the idea that this is a genuinely enhanced sense, not just a marginal improvement. Third, depth perception. A 2009 study placed electrodes in the eyes of the bonnethead, scalloped hammerhead, winghead, lemon shark, and black-nosed shark, measuring how much each eye's field of vision overlapped with the other. The winghead, the widest cephalofoil of the group, had the largest binocular overlap. The non-hammerheads and the bonnethead had significantly less. Greater binocular overlap means better depth perception, making it much easier to judge distance when targeting prey. The fourth function, and arguably the most impressive, is electromagnetic detection. All sharks have pores on the underside of their heads called ampullae of Lorenzini, which detect the electric fields produced by living organisms. Hammerheads have a higher concentration of these pores than other sharks, and the expanded cephalofoil surface means far more can be distributed across a wider area. Observations of great hammerheads swimming close to the seabed and swinging their heads from side to side, almost exactly like a metal detector, provide compelling evidence. These sharks prey on stingrays that bury themselves in sand. Hammerheads have been observed suddenly turning and excavating buried stingrays from the sediment, prey that other shark species would struggle to locate at all. So the cephalofoil improves hydrodynamics, smell, vision, and electromagnetic detection. But how did it evolve? The original assumption was a simple progression. Start with a normally shaped head, gradually expand it over time. The bonnethead, smallest cephalofoil, was assumed to be the most ancestral species. The winghead, largest, was assumed to be the most recently evolved. A neat line from small to large. It turns out to be the complete opposite. DNA analysis from 1993 and again in 2010 found that the winghead is actually the most ancient member of the group, the first to diverge from the common ancestor. The bonnethead is the most recently evolved. The direction of evolution runs exactly backwards from what everyone predicted. What this means is that the ancestor of all hammerheads, living roughly 20 million years ago, already had a large body and a large, highly expanded cephalofoil. That big hammer didn't evolve gradually. It appeared rapidly, early in the lineage, and the species we see today diversified outward from those first large hammered forms. Physical evidence supports this. The winghead's nostrils are positioned closer to the midline than in other hammerheads, suggesting it can't sample as wide a volume of water as more recently evolved species. The electroreceptor pores are also clustered closer to the center in wingheads, indicating that as later species evolved, selection pressure drove further refinement of the cephalofoil for sensing. After the initial large ancestor, small body size evolved independently twice, once in the winghead lineage, once in the bonnetheads. Smaller species appear to invest more energy in reproduction than growth, and crucially, smaller hammerheads don't benefit from hydrodynamic lift from the cephalofoil. That advantage only applies at larger sizes. So they retained the strange head purely for the sensory benefits. The evolution of hammerhead sharks is far more complex than it first appears. What looked like a progression from small hammers to large ones runs in reverse, and that ridiculous head, the one that looks like someone got the design wrong, is one of the most multifunctional anatomical structures in the entire animal kingdom. 4 advantages. 1 structure, 20 million years in the making.